In this video, we're going to go over how you can avoid information overload. This is actually becoming a bigger thing in this modern information age that we all live in, and it affects a majority of people whether they realize it or not. We have so much information coming at us. And so what we're going to do is show you how you can discover and understand the difference between what's critical versus what is trivial, right? Because there is a difference to that. And also how to reduce all of the noise that's going on in our headspace. We're going to take the volume, we're going to turn it down just a bit, right? And how to understand the difference in power of know, K-N-O-W, and know, N-O, because there's a difference to that. When you understand the power behind them, it's going to revolutionize on how to turn down and reduce the information overload that many of us are actually experiencing. Plus, I'm going to give you a bonus invite. If you run your own online business, this is going to revolutionize how you do business and reduce the chaos that many people face in that space at the end of the video. Hi, I'm Andy Griffith. I'm the co-founder of Movement Formula, your all-in-one business coaching system. When it comes to understanding how we can avoid information overload, we have to discover the power of straight talk with ourselves, right? We have to kind of be real and have this straight talk conversation with ourselves, right? A lot of times like, oh, I'm gonna have straight talk with someone else. No, we actually gotta have straight talk with us, okay? And it's asking those questions that may not necessarily be easy, okay? Because we have to understand and start to really dive deeper to understand what's critical versus what's trivial, right? You know, what is the things that are actually needed to be done versus the things that are easy to be done? You ever notice like when you have a big to-do list, you tend to gravitate towards the things that are naturally either easy for you to do, quick to get done, but we often are avoiding the key thing that we really need to get done, right? And so we have to start having that straight talk going, yeah, that'd be nice to clean up my email inbox, but like today, for example, I need to shoot YouTube videos, right? So what do we need to do is what's critical versus what's trivial, right? Because there's usually a critical few and trivial many, and oftentimes people do the trivial many because it's easier, right? There's less of that kind of mental resistance to it, if you will. And so what happens is, though, if you can eliminate the trivial many and focus on a few, you can get a lot more clarity on your goals. And oftentimes, like if you ask people like, how many goals do you have? And they can list off, it sometimes can be like a list, but I want to encourage you is try to reduce it down to just 2 to 3 goals. And I'm not necessarily talking about daily goals per se. I'm talking about like maybe breaking it down to like quarterly or monthly, and here's the reason why, 2 to 3 goals. And that may not sound like a lot, right? Some people are like, I can do more than 2 to 3 goals. Usually your goals, they're meant to quote stretch you, but they have sub-steps to them, right? And if we actually map them out, it's like, for instance, to make this YouTube video today, it's like, oh, I just make a YouTube video. Well, actually, there's a process to that. We have to put together bullet points, notes, scripts, right? And then we have to later on write the description of the YouTube video. We have to shoot the YouTube video. We have to edit the YouTube video, right? Then I've got to make emails letting my email list know that a new video is coming out. We have to schedule it, upload it. If I want to make any type of social media posts about it, that all goes into the fact of making a video. So the fact of doing what often happens is people just see the top line thing they're trying to do without understanding or respecting the bottom line actions to get the top line result, right? Bottom line actions to get top line results is by mapping those out and understanding that now you go, wow, okay, if there's 2 to 3 core goals and I break those down, they each have say 10 sub steps to them. That's 30 steps to get there, not 2 to 3 steps, okay? And so that, by going through that practice of understanding that what is critical versus what is trivial, you're going to be able to start to go, you know what, I don't necessarily have time for those things. Those things are great, but that's not really the high priority list for me because my critical goal is this, and these are the sub-step tasks of getting there. You know, so I'm curious, how many goals or projects or courses are you currently working on or taking right now, right? Because sometimes too with information overload, how many courses have you opted into, paid for, whether free, and have you actually, here's that straight talk question coming out, have you actually finished them? Now, and I don't ask that to be mean, I've bought plenty of things I've not finished, okay? And I've been guilty of buying the next course before I'm done with the first course, and then I don't finish either course because then there's another one later. We all fall victim to those sorts of things, right? We think we need it right now, but you've got to stop hopping to the next thing and follow through and finish what is my core thing. And so by making that commitment, and that's why you pause on these things, my 2-3 goals, that commitment, you're going to have to say no to the other later, so that way you can focus on what's key and critical for right now. Because I'm going to let you in a little secret, okay? That course will probably still be there later, okay? Some content creators or course creators may be like, Andy, why are you saying that? I have, we have a course of this Coaching Igniter. It's a program of ours. We actually don't offer it every single day. There's only windows of opportunity to join, but it's probably going to be available later, right? Most of the things you're going to learn or something like it, and it might even be better because it's been enhanced each time. Finish the things to get you to that first step, right? To climb Everest, it's up at the top, right? But you have summits along the way. So commit to getting to each summit before you plan your next path and your goals, and reduce the amount of goals you're working on, because you respect the bottom line actions to get that top line result, the sub steps of the goals to get there. Okay, so like I said, how many goals or projects or courses are you working on, started, or never finished? I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that. I've had almost like a couple of years of being guilty until I started to learn these processes and reduce that information overload. So the number 2 thing that we need to realize is that with so much being thrown at us, I kind of touched on this a little bit ago, is we need to eliminate the noise, right? But now I want to talk about not just the noise in our goals and to-dos, but the noise inside the head, right? There's like information highways in here, right? Just flying around. We need to reduce that noise and stop trying to remember everything to do, right? Because what it does, if you're trying to remember everything, it just creates more stress, because you're like, oh yeah, I gotta do that. Oh yeah, I gotta do that. You're laying in bed at night, right? Who's guilty of this? Oh yeah, don't forget to do this, right? Or the next day at lunch, did I get this done? Oh yeah, I need to do this. Instead of keeping everything inside your head, use tools, systems, and processes, which I'm going to talk about in a second, to help leverage that noise bandwidth in your brain. And what you're going to have to do is give yourself a little bit of permission to pause on things, right? We're going to have to let certain things not get done. Give yourself, I like to talk about it in the phrase of, give yourself permission to pause. It's not necessarily go, go, go. It's as connected as we are, having these awesome devices, we're busier than ever, right? Our phones just connect us in so many different ways, but it makes us busier than ever. We have to give ourselves permission to pause, okay? And to cut out the noise, so that way we can actually create achievable plans, okay? So like tools that I use, we use Asana for our business, and I use it for my personal life too, is it makes all the difference. Like, I put everything inside of that app so I don't have to remember it. And so you think about, though, going through the framework and function of that, taking time to put it in the app takes a little bit of time, but then I don't think about it. What happens is I get to kind of like set it and forget it, if you know what I mean. Like, I put it in the app, I don't have to think about it. If my wife was here right now, you could ask her. There's times when she asks me like, "What are you doing today?" And I'm like, "I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's on my list." Now, because I try to make it where my days list fit inside certain time blocks, right? But I don't like have to remember everything. Instead, in the morning, I look at my list and go, okay, yeah, that is my key critical task for me to accomplish today. Am I going to sit here and say I get every single thing done every day? No. But do I get majority of them done? Oh yeah. And by putting in an app, I don't have to like rewrite it later. I can just change the date of it if I need to. Or again, permission to pause. Here's a cool thing that happens. If you start noticing you're moving a certain thing and you keep moving it and keep moving the date and keep moving the date, maybe it's really not that important. Like you think it is, but it's obviously not important enough for you to actually get it done. You keep moving the date. Maybe it's just time to let it go. It's not going to happen. Release it. Permission to pause, and sometimes pause is indefinitely. So let me ask you this. Do you actually take time to chart out your to-do lists and like the substeps to your action plans to hit your goals, right? Because I'll tell you, statistically, writing things down massively improves your chances of actually completing them, and it reduces the headspace of having to memorize it. And do you use your tools to keep yourself organized, like Asana or Trello or Microsoft Todoist? There's so many out there. Do you use tools to keep yourself organized with your to-do list? Okay? Because what I usually do is most mornings, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know my app has it in there. So all I do is put things in my app, check my app, and then I know what to do, because I can go straight from there to know what it is my action items are going to be for that particular day. And then throughout the day, I can always, because my phone's with me, I don't always have a notebook with me, I can just put it in my phone for later. right? And then schedule it at a later time so I don't have to keep my headspace. Now I'm reducing the noise inside of my head. Now the third thing is finding our power of no and no. And you're like, what do you mean, Andy, no and no? We're going to spell them differently. K-O-N-O-W, like knowing, like the power of no, like what do I know? But the power of no, like no, not happening, not going to do it, N-O. So K-N-O-W versus N-O. Once we know what we can say no to other things, like realize you can say no to stuff. That revolutionizes opportunities, right? Oftentimes distractions are delivered to us in the form of an opportunity. Like, oh, you have this opportunity to learn this. You have this opportunity to buy this. Those could be potential distractions dressed as an opportunity, right? So stop saying yes to the good things, right? Because later on you can actually have the bandwidth to say yes to the great things. Okay, because there's a lot of good things to do, but it doesn't mean it needs to necessarily be done, right? And when you actually say yes to things, you are saying no to things later because you won't have the time for it. So you technically are already saying no. You just don't realize it at the time when you say yes to certain things. So knowing, K-N-O-W, what's a priority, what's critical, what's most important, right? And then no, N-O, saying no, that doesn't really align, that doesn't fit. I would love to do that, but right now I cannot. Right? There's certain things you have to commit that you're not going to be doing in order to do the key critical tasks that you need to be doing. That's how you start to reduce that information overload and overwhelm that affects us, because now you have clarity. You have a clear vision, a clear focus on what it is you're moving towards and what do you actually need to get there to that. Because just because you could do something doesn't mean you should, right? For instance, you ask my wife, I hate doing yard work. I know some people out there love it. They're like, oh, I love doing yard work. I have built websites for landscape companies to do my yard work for the whole season, so I didn't have to do that, right? But I could, right? I could go mow my lawn. For me, I can build a website in a weekend and get my whole entire yard mowed for the summer. That's well worth the time and value and trade for me, right? And vice versa, though. They can mow a lawn 15, 20 minutes, especially if they have a crew or the big toys, right, to do it quickly, and they can get done. The time probably adds up if you think about it over the course of the summer and the amount of hours, but I get to do it in one sitting. I'm done. I don't worry about it all for the season. They get a branded website. So that's like saying, because I know how to do something, I can say no to do other things. You start to apply those frameworks. Just because you could do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should, right? So draw your lines in the sand when you start to take on too much. Because what happens is, if you take on too much, you will deprioritize the things you're doing, right? They're not going to get 100% because you're just trying to get it done. Okay. Another great way I've read about in a book was if someone, maybe you're not in control and some people bring stuff to you to do that's outside your norm. That does happen. A great way is like, I'd love to do that. What should I deprioritize while I work on that? Think about that. You didn't say no. You just basically said, what do you want me to deprioritize while I work on this? So you're definitely open, available to do this extra thing, but you can't fit it in with everything else you're already doing. So what's the permission-based thing for me to deprioritize? You can do that with yourself. Okay, if I'm going to take this on, what am I going to deprioritize to get the other things done? And that way you're not in information overload of trying to take a lot in and produce a lot out. So let me ask you, do you say no to like taking courses before you're ready? Right? How many buy a course because you feel the urgency, right? Marketing's awesome. It happens to me sometimes, like, oh, I need this. It's hard to say no. That's when you know the marketing's on fire. But before you're ready, okay? Or do you not buy your next tool before you actually know you're going to use it, right? So it's like, and when we like to give an example, if you don't have a website funnel up or even an offer in place, you probably don't need to learn about Facebook ads unless you're trying to become an ads expert, right? I don't need to learn how to make an ad for my product if I have no product to sell. When do you need to learn as you need to learn it, right? Instead of what most people fall victim to is just in case learning. Switch it to just-in-time learning. When do I need to know this? When do I need this tool? Do I need it right now? Oftentimes you don't. So it's probably counterintuitive as a person that produces online content, but just being real talk to give you value, because I know that I've had countless trainings I've never finished. And the reason was I didn't know my clear path at the time, right? Whereas now I see certain things like, oh, that's interesting. I'd love to take that. Right now is not the season for it. Right? Notice that. Season for it. Doesn't mean I won't ever. It's not the season. But as we talked about, it'll probably be available later, or something like it will be available later. So if you have an online business, you may be in the zone of digital duct tape, which is like chaos. You're messing with 4 to 5 different companies, getting information overwhelmed on how to use their products, but then how to connect them all to work together. But switching to Movement Formula's all-in-one business coaching system, you literally get to sign up for free, but with that you're going to get unlimited funnels, unlimited contacts, calendars, courses, and it even includes email marketing, text message marketing, plus templates, so you're not starting from scratch, all within one dashboard. So you're not having to piecemeal together different softwares to work. You log into one platform and have all the things you need to run your online business. It very simplifies how you do business so that you can build the movement you're meant to lead and put an end to that digital duct tape of chaos piecing things together. And right now it's available for absolutely free when you join Movement Formula. You just go to movementformula.com. You can get your own all-in-one business coaching system at movementformula.com. There's a link also down in the descriptions. If you've gotten some value from this video, I'm going to ask a couple of favors from you. The first, what was your biggest takeaway? What was like a big aha? If you drop that in the comments, let us know what the biggest takeaway from this video was for you. But also, make sure and click a thumbs up. That lets us know. It's like a signal flare in the air that says this video was great. It lets us know that these are the type of videos to keep creating for you guys. And also, make sure to subscribe. We have a whole library of videos already released, and we have many more in the works to be produced, to be put out there for you. By subscribing, you're not going to miss out on any of those future videos when they go live to the public.